Before we get into today's Ohio State football report, all about the offensive coordinator search for the Buckeyes, we are 114 subs away from 9,000 here on the channel. I know there are going to be at least 114 people watching who aren't subscribed to like our content. So if you're one of those people, what are you waiting for? Hit that sub button right now. The Buckeyes are on the path for a new offensive coordinator as they try to replace Chip Kelly. Pete Nakos over at On3 dropping his top 4 candidates from based on what he's hearing around this ongoing coaching search. So wanted to break down those 4 candidates, 3 of whom we mentioned on our own top 10 candidates list. And a name that will continuously be linked, is Brian Hartline, the current co-offensive coordinator / wide receivers coach for the Buckeyes. I don't think you'd find anyone outside of maybe fans of the team up north who would really argue with the statement that Hartline is the best wide receivers coach in America. He has proven that time and time again from a recruiting standpoint, from a developmental standpoint. He is awesome at that particular role. But he probably wants a little bit more than that. He wants to be more than just a receiver, recruiter, and developer and all that stuff. There are, I think, questions about whether or not he'd even call the plays over Ryan Day. But it worked really well this past year, allowing Day to be the more CEO-style head coach. Can the Buckeyes find someone to take on the play-calling duties? Now, Brian Hartline is already the co-offensive coordinator for the Buckeyes. Regardless, he's going to keep that title. I saw people figuring like, his bio says offensive coordinator. Well, yeah, that's not new. That was not a change at all. But we're talking play-calling here. We're talking in a level of upgrade in terms of what his job responsibilities are. I would bet that Hartline wants to call the plays because he's taken head coaching interviews and hasn't gotten a job yet, or at least hasn't taken a job yet. And play calling duties help him get there, I believe. And if you have concerns over whether or not Hartline can call the plays, I get that. That's a question mark. There's only one way to find out, is to let him call the plays. And maybe what you could hypothetically do here for the Buckeyes and Hartline is to get a different co-OC in there to help with the offensive line, maybe one who has play calling experience, who can help mentor Hartline a little bit and not have it all be put onto his shoulders necessarily. So do you want to hire Brian Hartline as the true next offensive coordinator, the play-calling offensive coordinator? It is the pinned comment on today's show, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, it's just fine. Take advantage of it. Head down there, type in Y for yes, N for no. Next up is the one name that we didn't include on our top 10 list. I had him as a possible guy, but I didn't think it was all that likely, so I am surprised to see Shannon Dawson on here. Per On3, I should say. That is the current Miami Hurricanes offensive coordinator. He was a key factor in convincing Cam Ward to turn down the NFL, go to Miami for a year, which has worked wonders for Cam Ward's draft stock, by the way. And Miami led the nation in total offense. He's finishing up year 2 after a fairly long career in coaching ranks. Been at Houston, been at Kentucky briefly. Cam Ward was electric this past year. Ton of touchdowns. Miami Hurricanes offense scored with the best of any team in all of college football. And that makes this idea interesting to me. I am intrigued by the idea of Shannon Dawson as the next Ohio State offensive coordinator. The biggest reason being the Hurricanes offense was fantastic this past year. It was great. At the same time, the brief, limited views we've seen of a non-Cam Ward offense in Miami has struggled. So how much credit / blame do you give to Dawson in that scenario? Or was it just other QBs weren't very good? I think stealing a guy that's regarded as one of the better Power 5 offensive coordinators would probably be a good thing in the end for the Buckeyes. And you are Ohio State. Money shouldn't necessarily be an object. Not that you're going to give him $6 million like the Raiders allegedly gave Chip Kelly. But if there's someone you really, really want, you should be able to go get them. Now, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time's got a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats. So you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. Always keep an eye out for the super deal. It is the best given deal on any event. It'll get you the most bang for your buck, so to speak. The Game Time guarantee is this. You find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off that first purchase. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Download Game Time today. Make the terms do apply, but get the last-minute tickets for the lowest price, guaranteed. Another name we had mentioned previously, which I am very intrigued by, is Joe Moorhead, the current Akron head coach. Now, he has been an offensive coordinator multiple times before. Did a lot of good work with Oregon. Beat the Buckeyes in Columbus that 1 year in 2021 with him as the OC. Did a lot of great stuff with Penn State. Has also not had the best success as a head coach in previous stops. I do like what Moorhead has done from an offensive perspective. I like the designs, the play calling. I think it works really well at the collegiate ranks. I also wonder if he wants to give up on being a head coach. He's tried with Mississippi State. So took the Akron head coaching job. That's not a big-time job. That's actually a very hard place to win. Coming off a doubling his win totals from the previous years, but he probably has got to make a bowl game or he might get fired at Akron. So, and in years past, we've seen that type of job status where they're kind of sitting in a dangerous spot with their current head coaching role, jumping to a higher level Power 5 coordinator role. We just saw it with Chip Kelly, after all. So what is your overall confidence level here in Ryan Day hiring the right offensive coordinator for Ohio State? Maybe a different answer than what you would have given, 2 months ago when we were all mad at him for the Michigan game. But grade it for me, or scale it for me, 1 to 10 in the comments of today's show. Then finally is the young offensive mind. That is Will Stein, the Oregon offensive coordinator. Dylan Gabriel and Bo Nix in back-to-back years have put up incredible numbers for Oregon. Now, the issue that the Ducks ran into was it didn't go so well this past year. In the college football playoff game against the Buckeyes, Oregon was shut down offensively. They had no answers to the four-man pressures that OSU would bring, and that maybe is a concern. He is at a rapid rise. This is a very, very young coach who was a couple years removed from coaching at the high school level at Lake Travis. Now he's had other experience before that, but he was coaching high school ball. He is very young, just 35 years old. This is viewed as one of the up-and-coming offensive minds in the game. He is originally from Louisville, by the way, so to an extent, a bit of a homecoming, or at least regionally a homecoming there. It is a very college-y offense. It's designed to get guys in space, and I think if it's not out-talenting, sometimes I have some concerns about it. I think you saw that against Ohio State, but that might have just been the Buckeyes' defense playing out of their mind. And I don't want to overreact to one game because they put up bunches of points in the first time those two teams played. It is a college offense, and this is a college team. So people have asked me, like, Stein is the NFL guy. I don't love that as much. Collegiately, I am more intrigued by that one. It is worth mentioning Oregon fans were mad at him after the CFP loss. That's just how fandom tends to work, though. Now, of note here, Ryan Day did go on the Joel Klatt Show and spoke about, hey, this is what the coaching staff's going on, how you replace key guys, etc. So I wanted to break down Day's quotes here. But you're missing 3 notable coaches now. Chip Kelly, the former OC, to the Raiders in the same job. Jim Knowles going to Penn State in the same job. And Justin Frye going to the Arizona Cardinals in the same job. So 2 guys jumped to the NFL, getting massive contracts in Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles, by the way. Probably more than maybe what the Buckeyes were going to pay, especially the Chip Kelly one. Here's what Ryan Day had to say, though. The good news is we're at Ohio State. We have some good opportunities to hire some great people and fit them with some people who are really good young coaches. Really good young coaches that are rising stars here in the profession, and some guys with great experience. But this was going to be part of the deal. We knew that. I knew that right after the championship game. And so you have plans in place. But we're going to make sure we take our time and find the right guys because it is Ohio State. And you have the opportunity to get the best. Now, as part of this whole conversation, Day mentioned Chip Kelly and Justin Frye. Did not mention Jim Knowles, which I think there was some friction with the way that was handled. I think you can compare it to the way Chip Kelly handled it and Jim Knowles handled it. There have been reports that Chip Kelly was looking at the NFL, but he wasn't like actively leaking interest necessarily, or at least interest wasn't getting leaked. But there wasn't even a report of an interview with the Las Vegas Raiders. So I think some of the handling is maybe a big factor in that, especially given Day's in championship game celebration comments. The big thing for the Buckeyes here is this: how do you balance continuity and change? You don't want to have massive change because you're coming off a national championship. You're going to have some of it. You also want to make sure you're getting the best guy possible. You don't just want to promote somebody. That's not always the best move when you're at the level the Ohio State Buckeyes currently are. There is not a massive rush at this moment. I think it'll get done soon, but there's the transfer portal's closed. No one else is necessarily fighting for the same job, so you can take a little bit of extra time and make sure you get these hires, I should say, right. That is the end of today's show. Appreciate everyone who made it this far. If you did, show it by liking today's video.